Hello, I'm Steve McLaughlin, host of The Data Pour. Welcome to Season 3. It's finally here. We're so excited. And our first guest is the illustrious Scott Taylor, the Data Whisperer himself. Thank you so much for being here.
You bet, Steve. Great to be here.
Let's grab a beer and then sit down and chat.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you again for joining me. This is exciting. It's a beautiful hotel that we get to hang out in.
It is the Charm Hotel, iconic.
Right.
Thanks for having me too.
Of course.
It's a thrill to be here.
Yeah, and your keynote this morning here at DGIQ was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've honed it. It's perfect.
Yeah, I was on today.
You were.
Which is good. And I did one of the things I love to do best, which is hold for laughs.
Yes.
Who doesn't love that?
You were speaking to people where you were speaking to their truth.
It was
resonating.
Yeah, there was some pain that it was therapeutic in
It
some
was
cases
therapeutic. It was data therapy.
Yeah. But speaking of honing it, I really believe half of it is delivery.
Sure.
So there's the content, and I think people spend like 98% of the time on the content and then end up doing nothing on delivery.
Sure.
And I've got the content down where I tweak it, I kind of refine it. What's a better way to deliver it? Because my content's going to be that's not going to change.
Sure.
In 2 years, it's not going to be completely redone.
So one of the things I admire about you is your comedic timing is perfect, and I was going to ask you about that. When did you realize that I believe comedy is very effective in delivering sometimes hard messages? When did you learn that?
I think I grew up with it. Making people laugh, my parents laugh, and adults laugh was a big moment for me when I would say something and all the adults would laugh.
Right.
So I clearly had some kind of comic sense, and then just used it when I could in business because again, it's a great equalizer. It's a great opener. If it's done, well and with the right kind of, it's a seasoning on there.
Yeah.
But then when I got into this part of it, which is just doing content and having to be delighted to be the keynote speaker at this kind of thing, I know I got to deliver, right? So I got to set the tone, get the mood going in some way, and built almost what you saw today, which is like half of it's basically a data stand-up act.
Sure,
with
I love it.
slides.
Right, and yet also very informative, and the comedy helps it stick.
It
helps it resonate. So I got to ask you: is it talent, skill, both? How do you hone it? How do you improve your delivery?
I had probably an unfair advantage because I studied a lot of dramatic art in college.
Okay.
I wasn't a drama major, but I did a whole bunch of plays.
Gotcha.
And I did, you do 2 or 3 plays a quarter.
Sure.
And then some summer stock stuff, and then community theater afterwards. I went to Berkeley, so did a bunch of stuff. And I never had the aspirations to be an actor, and a lot of friends of mine were going off to that. But that training, that skill, it's a true craft, and having that coming into a business environment. It's really unusual.
It's really important.
And I realized early on in my career, it's like, I'm comfortable on stage. These people are terrified. You're looking at a whole agenda and realizing, okay, I can really bring something to this session in a way of energy, knowing the lights, holding for laughs, whatever, just some of the crafts a little bit helps. And I have some of that training. And I just fall back. Most important stuff I learned in college was that, I think.
Right. No, that's great, though. communication is so hard. And even in our industry and this microcosm of what we do, it's even more important. I would argue it's important in every line of work, but even more so here.
Yeah.
Right? We're delivering complicated topics that are sometimes uncomfortable to hear, and the ability to wrap that in a package that's pleasing to the ears, that's a real skill.
Yeah, so I found in the business side, working for these companies, worked at Nielsen for almost 25 years, worked at Dun & Bradstreet, always on the supplier side. So I'm talking and presenting to enterprises of all types, IT people generally.
Sure.
Certainly in the early days, there was no, I go back pre-2K, so there was no CDO or any of that office. It was all in IT. And I began to get feedback like, okay, we really get this, we understand it. Can you come with us when we have to explain it to the CFO? Because you really seem to be able to, and there's nothing more powerful than this, even when I was just a line salesperson, of going to the CFO, looking for money for a proposal, and having IT behind you going, yes, yes, he's right, because everybody's scared of IT. And So I realized I fit this little niche, but I don't. It also took me a while to learn my limits. So the
Yeah.
why, not the how. I don't touch anything. I don't go
Sure.
look under the hood.
Yeah.
Everything seems to demo beautifully. I don't have that kind of practitioner experience at
Right.
all.
Okay.
But I seem to, as you said, sort of tap into the angst of that
Yes.
space.
Yeah.
And it would happen a lot where I'd go out on these. Eventually, my career went out on sort of the command performance presentation. So like the renewing, and they want to know why it's important. And
Right.
so bring
Right.
Scott in, and I'll tie it to what their CEO said and their business objectives. I
Love
just
that.
had that knack. And sometimes the salespeople come back. They loved you. That's great. They want you on the account. I'm
Right.
like, no, they don't. No,
Yeah.
no. This is it. You saw what I
don't
do.
want me to
You
actually-
don't want me
yeah.
touching
Sure.
anything. I'm very shallow. I'm effective, but I don't go very
Yeah.
deep. And partnering up with somebody who does what I call the how instead of the why is
Right.
important. But those people who do know the how, they don't always explain it well.
Sure.
And so I found my little
Yeah.
part. I play my
fantastic.
part really well, but I stick to my position. I'm like, I don't, no swimming out of my lane, no
Sure.
thinking out of the box here.
Well,
at this point.
it's powerful
I
to
fit,
know
Yeah,
that.
I fit a role, so
Yeah.
it's fun.
I've always asked people this because I love studying narrative, and it's why I'm such a big fan, because you speak of narrative and data storytelling. Have you read the book Sapiens?
No.
Okay, because there's a great quick little anecdote. It's all about how human beings came to be what we are. And so one of the first things they talks about in the book, and we can cut all this if it's way too long, because it's just fascinating, is animals form tribes. You know, we look at primates, they form kind of tribes or packs or whatever you want to call it, but they reach a certain size and then they have to split. And the reason is they require direct experiential contact with their leadership. And so I trust you, you're the leader, great. Once we reach a certain size, you can't do that for everybody. And so animal packs split. Humans develop the ability for abstract communication and trust.
Oh, okay.
And no other animals can really do that because we can abstract temporal information. So we can say, I know you don't know Scott well, but trust me, you trust me, and I trust him. And so you think, cool, okay, if I trust you and you trust him, so that's great. So we could form these larger communities that other animals can't do. And similarly, we can communicate things, not just like, there's a lion, which monkeys can do now. They can shout and scream and say, there's a predator. We can say, predators come to this watering hole around dusk, so avoid it. So early on, we learn the ability to abstract information, and it largely is how civilization formed.
Nice. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a great book if you ever get a
Hierarchy
chance to
and
read
things
it.
like that,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
sorry to take that on an aside.
No,
I've always found that
your role.
interesting. Yeah.
Your show.
So so on that note, you studied theater. One of your books is on data storytelling.
My only book.
Only book?
That's
Oh,
it. Yeah, I don't
okay.
think there's
I'm
another
trying to
book in
pump
me.
you up here,
I
but
appreciate
okay, only
that,
book.
but it's like the leap from 0 to 1 was the big
Sure.
one. I know friends of mine who were out doing the same thing. I'm on book 23.
I do want to ask you about the trials and tribulations of writing a book. We'll come back
Okay,
to that.
all
But
right.
first, what did you do studying narrative heading into that, or thinking about narrative and how it applies to data?
It just came natural. I mean, there was my training in, again, dramatic arts. You learn about
Sure.
story formation. I did, took a lot of English classes, read a lot of novels, and so fiction and all that. You
Yeah.
understand kind of exposition, development, climax, setting something up so people know the universe they're in right away.
sure.
A lot of that stuff I do in my videos with the data puppets, which I'm happy to talk about.
Yes, we will.
And, but also just putting a good pitch together
Yeah.
and understanding how to do that. And it's a sales pitch. And my belief
Right.
is the kind of story that data managers have to tell is a pitch. I mean, face it, if you got sales
100%.
experience, that helps.
Yes,
I was in
agreed.
sales, started off door to door. My father was a salesman. My grandfather was a salesman. My great grandfather was one of the first 10 rabbis in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So that was selling, believe
Wow,
me. So
yeah,
I go
of
way
course.
back in terms of selling there.
Nice.
But it's just that ability to communicate and take people through some sort of logic. When you're selling and when you're doing theater, you have to be able to say the same thing over and over again, make it sound like
Right.
it just came up.
Sure.
That it's real in that moment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a technique sometimes, because when
Right.
you're selling something to 100 people, you're going through the same thing.
Sure.
It's the first time they're interacting with it, though. And that's what I always remember. That's what I always brought from my training was, no matter what happened before, this group here has never seen this.
Right.
This is their time to experience whatever you're talking about. And so don't have any other expectation, like,
Right.
the last one those people didn't get it
Sure.
or whatever. You got to bring your whole self to the
Yeah. I
conversation.
have so many more questions. Number one, are you fun to watch movies with? Sometimes
I
people
think
who
so. I
understand a
hope so.
narrative,
Yeah.
they point out
I used to,
flaws.
I know,
Okay.
yeah, sometimes I am. So I do not willingly suspend my disbelief always. I'm like, did you see that? Yeah. So sometimes I'm fun to watch movies with. But I used to have a thing I'd do for my kids, and then they started asking for it. It was like I would see a movie, and I go, let me show you the good parts version.
Oh,
And so
cool.
I would like sort of, skip to little pieces of
Uh-huh.
it so they could get a sense of it.
Right.
And that was a little technique I did to get them kind of into watching stories.
Yeah, that's great. All right, you have gone full-time content creator. How was that leap?
It was scary at first,
Yeah.
but it's a blast now. I mean, I'm absolutely living some form of dream for
Right.
me.
Sure.
I was looking at it when I left Dun& and Bradstreet, and I had some content, or I had a whole bunch of videos. I started posting stuff on LinkedIn. It started to catch on.
Right.
People would respond to it, and I had a whole bunch of presentations that I'd done either at conferences or some training, and I kind of took unbranded it and made it just mine.
Sure.
And I saw the reaction there, and then I got a speaking gig at one place, a partner from a software company that I knew, and then moved to this thing, moved to the next thing, next thing, next thing. And it's just, and then COVID hit, and all my events canceled. And I'd been thinking about writing a book.
Sure.
And I really went like, this is the time. I had a very strong conversation with myself. It's like, you're
Right.
either going to do this now
Yeah.
or shut up for the rest of your life.
Sure, sure.
Because I knew to do speaking and to do this kind of work I wanted to do, a book helped a lot in terms of
Yeah, of
credibility.
course.
And actually, I have a lot of respect for authors. You got to, we always talk about how people do TikTok videos and how short it can be. Your stories, your idea has to live in a long form. If you got to write a
Right.
couple hundred pages, it's a real thing.
Sure.
Right? There's
Yeah, of
depth
course.
there that a lot
not
of people
transient,
don't.
it's
A lot
real.
of people don't explore.
Yeah.
So the book was my COVID project, telling your data storytelling for data management.
What were some challenges writing a book?
I hate doing it.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's really, I'm a decent writer, and I always was, even in school and in business.
Sure.
But it's just such. I'm glad ChatGPT wasn't around, because I know I would have like, can you
Yeah.
just proof
Yeah.
this, will you? But it was just. I mean, I asked my publisher how long should it be, and he said 30,000 words you need at least, and I'm like high school, 27,900.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very, very, very important. But kept it brief, and my rationale was, well, to tell a good business story, you got to keep it brief. I'm not going to be a 500-page book.
Sure.
But it was fun to do, and I'm really glad I did it. It was really gratifying, but I'm glad it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Understood.
say, I don't think I have another one in me.
No.
Maybe there's one somewhere, but I don't have that same kind of urge to
Yeah.
do it. But that was the perfect time to do it, because
Yeah.
everything was
Yeah.
shut down.
Makes sense.
And when you're writing a book, mentally, it was every day was about the book.
Right.
It's like you're either writing it or
Right.
you're not writing it. It's
Sure.
like you're not taking a day off. There was always some, oh, it's nice today.
Yeah, and that
it's
you would
good.
have had other distractions.
And I don't have the discipline like a lot of writer friends of mine are like, all right, first thing in the morning, I'm going to pound out 1,000 words. Just
Yeah.
keep going. And I dwell on it and
Right.
whatever. But
But you got there.
got to get it. Yeah. And it's nothing like getting the first case of them and
I
just
bet.
saying, oh, yeah,
I bet.
this is.
I'm sure
this
that
is
was
a
very
real thing.
gratifying.
Yeah. It's so fun.
That's awesome. So now you travel quite a bit. You do a lot of traveling for speaking engagements. What's that like? I mean, is that a shift, or have you always traveled?
I always
everywhere?
travel a lot, but now it's
Okay.
even more fun because
Yeah.
all I have to do is do my thing that you saw today.
Sure.
It's 30 minutes.
Right.
I don't have, sales follow up
Yeah,
and things
okay,
like that.
sure.
All the other stuff. So it's just really a thrill.
Yeah.
And it's the most fun work I've been doing. And my wife comes with me when it's a fun place to go. So she went to
Oh, great.
Ireland and
Cool.
she's gone to France and London. I went to Lagos a couple weeks ago. She didn't go on that one, but it was a quick trip anyway. But it was clear also that the message I have and the way I'm talking about it resonates
Yeah.
wherever there's data all over
Definitely.
the earth, there's enterprises, and enterprises are my
Sure.
core audience. And it's a blast. Yeah, it's just, I don't mind
awesome.
being treated like a celebrity. People meet me,
Sure.
take pictures, all this. I love it. I can't help it.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
that's
I've
great.
got no problem. I have no imposter syndrome. I'm sorry.
I love that. No, that's fantastic. I love that.
Trying to fake my imposter
I
syndrome just
appreciate
so
how
people
much you
feel
know
more.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's
That's
a lot of
great.
it. You know, that comes with just kind of
Yeah.
really figuring that out.
Any challenges with it? Are there any ever? Do you ever like, ugh, I'm in another hotel again?
No, I don't. And I don't
Yeah.
go. It's not like a drudgery kind of
Sure.
thing. My challenges are always just sort of in the prep. Am I going to hit
Mm-hmm.
it? As I meant, because I know the content so well, I get really strict with myself around things like timing.
Yeah.
Around, okay, I blew that line. I know they don't know,
Yeah, sure.
but here's
Right.
a line I've said 100 times, and for some reason I said it backwards.
Didn't work
And
today.
what the hell's
Yeah.
wrong with me? So I tape everything I do just to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes watch it, but it's really valuable. And it's a big piece of advice I give a lot of folks who want to be public speakers, like tape
Yeah,
yourself. Have you
definitely.
taped yourself? Have you listened to yourself? Because you don't have I don't have a director, I don't have a resources
Sure.
doing this, but listening to
Don't
it,
get
fine
notes
tuning it,
after. Yeah.
figuring it out, changing things around. And it's really, for me, again, it's super fun to like change something a little bit and then see if it lands.
Do some A/B
differently.
testing a little
Yeah,
bit.
and
Yeah.
then go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you know, different audiences, different responses, and that for me is just, and it's always over too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. I
yeah.
can see that. Getting the groove. And you know, presentations like today, people were just loving it.
It was,
I'm
it
sure.
was a great,
I know that
it
had
was
to
a
feel
great
good.
audience. It really
Yeah.
was, and that means a lot. And you play off that, but if you don't get that reaction, you still have to keep going.
Yeah.
And again, that comes from the theater.
I guess that can be a little bit on the flip side too. If the audience isn't feeling it, it's probably a little harder.
I learned from the business side that people are like, I would do a session and I would go, all right, I don't even know if they were awake, and get all this incredible feedback afterwards and realize, all right, you know, it was at 8:30 in the morning,
Yeah, sure.
and they're not expecting like an, you know, semi-entertainment thing, and so
Right.
they're enjoying. You just don't hear it, but there's nothing like, you know, people cracking up
Sure.
like they did
Yeah.
today.
You got some big laughs today.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
great. The energy
yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome.
And I knew it was coming, so it was like, all right, this is
Yeah.
a good crowd. This
Came
is
at the
fun.
right time.
Yeah.
Midpoint through the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. So a lot of things kind of magically pull together. And then you
On
go,
that note, and obviously we're recording at DGIQ, so we'll say aside from this, do you have a favorite conference you go to every
Big
year?
Data London is so fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's. I did 2 keynotes there in September. I had 2 different topics. I had what you saw today, a version of that, telling your data story, or data's the new bullshit, which is
Yeah.
what I kind of my more edgy title for it. And then I did something with the data puppets, where I had a bunch of videos and I strung them together and then did kind of interstitial commentary. And the puppets have all these different guest voices. So there's like
yeah.
25 characters, and there's a whole bunch of data friends of mine who did voices.
Cool.
And 9 of them were there.
Oh, fun.
And so I had them in the front row, and many of them hadn't even seen their own stuff.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
there's a guy, Samir Sharma, who does the voice of the cat sultan from Meow Kinsey.
Meow Kinsey,
And
I'm
he's
familiar.
great at it, but he'd never seen it. And it's just, you know, so I'm showing it up on the screen like it's a movie.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
it was so, I have pictures of them, and they're just like buckled over. I go,
That's
this is
awesome.
the greatest moment of my life.
Tell me about the inception of the data puppets. So did you have a background in puppetry?
I did. I was looking the other day. I was looking for a puppet poster I had put in our building when I was 10. We had like a puppet show. I could never find
Nice.
it as a relic, but you know, kind of cartoons and animation and
Yeah.
just kind of characterization's always been part of it. But the puppets came from. I was at Dun and Bradstreet. My role there was to help them tell a better story around master data and the work that they did. And I had realized very early on I had to scale my messaging. This is how I learned some techniques. Like 5,000 people in the company, dozens of partners, global. I can't get everywhere. So I started doing videos, and then I created this character at D&B called Dean B. Again, it's like 175-year-old company. How did nobody else come up with Dean B? But maybe because they were a 175-year-old company. That's why they weren't thinking that way. But that character, and I had a little video that was all like D&B inside jokes. Like if you work at D&B, you
yeah.
think it's hysterical. If you don't work there, you have no idea
Wouldn't
what they're
understand
talking
what's
about.
going on. Yeah,
It was just
gotcha.
like set up punchlines, and that just blew my whole profile up in that organization. People wanted to see the puppet. We went to China. They were taking pictures.
Wow.
In Japan, they had a sales meeting with a guy coming out as a bee. It was just
Wow.
hilarious. Everybody loved it except for the marketing department. Imagine that. The CMO loved it, but the worker bees
Yeah.
didn't like. But anyway, fast forward, I leave and I had this idea for this character, the CDO, the Chief Dog Officer, and I had a bunch of data gags that I had sort of written, but they were just one-liners. And I put it together in a little video where the B became the ITB, speaks only in buzzwords.
Yep.
There's a monkey from the business, monkey business, and the
Okay.
dog is trying to rally all these forces, and everybody's speaking gibberish, and they end up arguing with each other about who owns the data, and it just sort of ends.
Sure.
And I put it out on LinkedIn, and the reaction I got was like nothing I had ever gotten. And so people were saying, the craziest sort of tone was, this is just like my company. I just left this meeting. I'm like, this is a bunch of puppet characters. You realize that, yeah, but this is you somehow. This is how people talk in my organization.
Sounds like you've always
Yeah.
had an ability to really
Sort of
tap
like-
in
yeah,
to
yeah.
something
and
important.
the satire part comes,
Sure.
naturally too. So just poking fun at that. But people were writing and saying, can I use this in my presentation at Gartner? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me send you the file.
Nice. Wow.
So I clearly struck a chord
Yeah.
in the space, and then just started writing more of it. I got a couple more episodes. I have like a 12 episode arc with like a real plot in it.
Cool.
Where they're trying to search for this one size fits all quick fix panacea magic wand easy button solution for
Yeah.
all their data problems. I'm trying to remember the line there.
Right.
And they hire a cat sultan from Kinsey. That's what Samir plays. And there's a whole bunch of characters. And then I had this Simpsons casting idea of like getting real people to do the voice work, and then
Yeah.
I do the puppetry. And it is like the most intense, most creative work I've ever done.
That's cool.
It's hugely time consuming.
Yeah.
I did a project for IBM for their data band brand, which is data observability. So that was really thrilling creatively to figure out how to use what's essentially one of the most analog forms of storytelling
Sure.
to explain something really digital, like
Yeah.
data observability.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And we wrote this script. They had some great feedback. We had the client played the hero, so that was a good move. He
Nice.
did that voice. But we had, talk about sort of setting up an environment where people understand what's going on. I set up really early these characters, and that data was represented by ping pong balls. And they were going through these tubes.
Okay.
And when like these tubes broke, so that was a pipeline, and it just sort of set it up really symbolically, but effectively. And things were watching all the data, all the ping pong balls kind of
Right.
go around, and that became observability. And then it actually went into a commercial. And they had said the company's data banned, and they said they always wanted to have a data band.
Okay.
So I took that and the little bots that were the data observability characters played music when they found a problem.
Nice.
And so that kind of flew. And then at the end, it just sort of built to this orchestra almost, this big band of characters playing. And yeah, it was a blast. But it was
That's
an
cool.
enormous amount of work. My wife came in, who's also my business manager, and said, I know what you got for this project, and you're basically getting $1 an hour. So you got to wrap this up. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, one more. I'm addicted to
time to go.
timing,
Yeah.
especially in editing, where it's like one little frame will just make it land better, and I just nuance it. So it is now officially my business hobby. But I
Okay.
think there's a way to do another wave of presentations similar to what I did in London at Big Data London, in training and using these characters.
Yeah.
And so,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's
So it's
fun.
really, so for me, that's sort of like, that's where I'm putting my energy instead of the next book.
Understood. Hey, that's where your passion is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
All right.
it's so fun. It's a blast.
This would not be a Data Poor episode if we didn't talk about beer.
Oh, okay, good.
Or whatever. And
Whatever.
obviously, we're having just one beer. Normally, we have a multitude.
It's early yet. I don't know. Are we done?
That's right.
The
We're
better
not,
data.
We're not done. But what I do want to know is I want to hear about what kind of drinks you enjoy.
I
What are you
usually try
into?
to speak global and drink local,
Okay.
but there were no real local Washington,
No.
D.C. beers. So I got a
Not
Fat
really.
Tire, which I
Yeah.
like, a pale ale, not an IPA. I can't
Right.
stand IPA.
Not an IPA fan.
No. So people tell me, oh, it's a lovely IPA. I said, no, it's not. I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever makes it an I, I would like to know what that flavor is so I could say that's not what I want, but
Sure.
I haven't met the right Cicerone to explain that to me.
Right.
But this is a Fat Tire. I like this beer.
Yeah. What's your go-to?
Go-to is that like Bass I used to drink a lot of. I like red ales.
Okay.
If I can find it.
Yeah.
Or I'll do just
Those are rare
straight,
these
like,
days, it
yeah,
feels like.
Smithwick's in Dublin. London Pride, I think, is an ale in London. So if I
Yeah.
can find, Anchor Steam was always my favorite.
Okay,
And
I've
they're
never
out of
had that.
business.
Never
But
even heard of that.
I went to school at Berkeley, and that was like a local. I don't know if
Gotcha.
that's a pale ale or not, but that's like but to be safe, because again, I don't like that. Oh, we have a snotty little IPA with a grapefruit aftertone, and
Yeah.
it's like
They get a little weird.
Yeah,
They get a little
I'm not
wild.
interested in that. So I'll just go like, give me a Pilsner.
Yeah. What's the best beer you've ever had in the world? Done a lot of traveling. Where's the best
Wow.
beer?
Good question. Probably in Belgium. I don't know if I knew
sure.
what it was, but there were these, and this is a new
Classic,
Belgian ale.
yeah, classic.
So like a goblet of
Yes,
some sort
right.
of local something.
A recipe made by monks in the 1400s.
But again,
yeah.
sort of clear. And then also, Anchor Steam was always my
Right.
favorite.
Cool. On to the future, 2025. What's it look like for the data whisperer himself?
I hope I have a couple of world tours with some of these
Yeah.
software brands I've been talking to. I
Yeah.
pitched myself to a couple of them and go, they have these
Cool.
multiple city things,
Sure,
and they
yeah.
bring in a sort of an inspirational third-party speaker, but then they've got somebody on topic, and I'm like, let me
Right.
be your anchor in the morning. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pitching
yeah.
that stuff. More Avanta, I hope as well. That's where
Yeah.
we saw each other
It's
last,
a cool one.
and yeah, I'm
Vanta's a great
hooked
great
into
thing.
that community, and so they know. I don't know if you knew, but that week we met, I did 3 of them.
Oh, really? Oh, you
So-
did the CSO or CISO or whatever?
Yeah, the CISO, and were you at the
CISO.
CDO?
I was at the CDO.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
the last one, but they had CISO, CIO, and then
Gotcha.
CDAO.
That's fun.
And it was like, yeah, I can do that. I kind of prove to them I'm a
Yeah,
war
that's right.
horse here. I'll come out, I'll
That's
hit
right.
my mark, I'll just crank it. Let's keep it going. So I love that. I love that kind of staying in shape and just the whole process and the whole execution of it. So I'm really leaning more into the public speaking stuff.
Right.
I know that's a particular.
I love your line where you says you're afraid of not public
Yes,
speaking.
I have a fear of not
I
public
love that.
speaking,
That was
which is
great.
kind of my sales line there for people who realize. And then more puppet things. So
Yeah,
I've got a ton of video that I haven't edited yet.
Right.
I've recorded all the voices. I've got all the puppetry done, which I did all myself. And now I just need to edit it and start releasing that on Dataversity. So
Sure,
Dataversity's we've got a puppet page there, datapuppets.com. Look for datapuppets.com. And more episodes will be there, and trying to release that out if I get more
Cool.
data band like
It's a
opportunities.
great partnership with Dataversity.
But yeah, Tony had already said, there's a training opportunity here. These characters.
Yeah.
People seem to love them. So
Yeah.
any more things I can do with that.
Last question. That's the future. Thinking
Yeah.
about the future. Tell me about the past. You mentioned before we started recording, your mom had shows here at this very hotel when you were a kid. Showbiz is in your blood.
Showbiz was in there. My mother at the time. So last time I was in this hotel was 1969. She actually didn't have shows here, but it was somewhere in Washington. She was Mary at Peter, Paul, and Mary. So if you know Peter, Paul, and Mary, Puff the
Wow.
Magic Dragon fans
Yes.
out there.
Wow.
And we were here for the week. But what I learned, and obviously global star, but I learned a lot about dealing with folks in that kind of environment. So people see you
Sure.
perform. Not that I'm anywhere near, I'm not pretending that, but there is an element of,
Yeah, of
okay,
course.
so I'm up on stage and afterwards people, and just the way she interacted with people, how she dealt with stuff, it all kind of learned as a child, just kind of watching
Yeah.
that was really incredible.
great.
And then also things that when she was on, she's on. When I was on, right? I'm
Yeah.
like on, and then you've got to bring that energy, you got to bring that presence and that sort of thing.
Right.
So that I got a lot of experience from that I didn't realize I got.
Yeah.
That I
That's
could
awesome.
apply later. And phenomenal artist, global star.
Yeah.
And it was a really fun childhood. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My dad at the time too, just to fill it out, he was publishing the National Lampoon
Really? Wow.
in so we're talking Nixon era of
Yeah.
satire.
Okay.
Plus her, so I had a ball. I would
Yeah.
go to school and people would complain about their parents, and I'm like, mine are great. I got nothing to worry about here. We're having a great time.
So satire and performing, it's
Yeah,
just in
it
your
kinda-
blood.
and
And
there
here
it
you
is.
are. You're
Yeah.
the intersection.
There you
truly.
go.
That's
So
amazing.
there was a story behind there. So it wasn't just coincidence.
Very cool. Scott, any closing thoughts you'd like to impart? Any closing wisdom you'd like to share with our intrepid data viewers?
With all you folks out here, the thing I always, when people say to me, okay, what advice would you give? Learn how to tell a story.
Yeah.
Tell a story, or better. We all know how to tell stories. You know what happened last weekend. You can talk about it with
Sure.
your friends or your parents, but put that kind of thought process and creativity into the way you communicate with folks who are not data people.
Yeah.
Because it's not incumbent on your audience to have to figure out what you're talking about.
Right.
And it's just a superpower. It just, you can get somebody to go from, I have no idea what you're talking about, to how do we live without this, which everybody in business wants.
Sure.
And if you want to be a leader, you got to know how to communicate. But
100%.
just understanding story structure in some way, just a little bit, is going to go a long way.
I love it. Scott, thank you so much for doing this. This has been an absolute blast. And thank you for watching The Data Pour. Until next time, let's toast to knowledge and connection, one episode at a time. See you out there. Cheers.
Yeah.